सारा मेजर फिश किल आता है दैट ऑकर्स ड्यू टू द पेस्टिसाइड स्प्रेइंग. द पेस्टिसाइड स्प्रेइंग इज रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर द मेजर फिश किलिंग. ओके, एंड फिश शो हेमोरेजिंग है, उनमें हेमोरेज हो जाता है फिश में और डेथ हो जाती है उनकी. ठीक है ना. फिर जो उनका सब लिथल इफेक्ट्स ऑफ द पेस्टिसाइड्स ऑन द फिश में क्या आएंगे आपके, सो उनमें बेसिकली बिहेवियरल चेंज दिखेंगे आपको. उनका उनका बोन डीजेनरेशन स्टार्ट हो जाएगा फिश का, और वर्टेब्रल डैमेज भी हो जाएगा. ठीक है, दीज थिंग्स आर देयर. क्या क्या हो जाएगा बताओ, बिहेवियरल चेंजेस दिखेंगे उसमें, फर्दर मोर डीजेनरेशन होगा, और फिर वर्टेब्रल डैमेज हो जाएगा. सो ऑल दीज थिंग्स आर देयर. फर्दर मोर pesticides causes histopathological effects. Okay, what are the histopathological alterations in the vital organs? ठीक है ना. so of the fish, तो उनकी जो फिश की जो गिल्स होती है ना, उसमें ये चेंजेस ला देंगे. स्किन में चेंजेस आ जाएंगे. ठीक है, स्किन का कलर फेड हो जाएगा. लीवर में चेंजेस आएंगे. ठीक है, डाइजेस्टिव ट्रैक्ट में चेंजेस आएंगे. किडनी में चेंजेस आएंगे. रिप्रोडक्टिव ऑर्गन्स में आएंगे इन एक्वेटिक एनिमल्स. ओके, एंड पेस्टिसाइड ऑल्सो शो अ डिप्रेशन इन द ऑक्सीजन कंजम्पशन in the fish and the prawns. Okay, pesticides are found to be teratogenic in the embryos of the fish and the lung and the frog, not lung. I hope this is clear to you. देखो फिर से मैं आपको बता देता हूँ. Okay, what is the response of the fish toward the pesticides? Okay, so fish are basically killed owing to the excessive pesticide spraying. So what they do, fish show hemorrhaging and death. Hemorrhage हो जाता है उनमें और death हो जाती है. And furthermore, the sublethal effects of the pesticides on the fish are behavioral changes. Okay, furthermore, what they do the bone degeneration and the vertebral damage. Okay, and basically the pesticides are responsible for bringing about the histopathological changes or alterations in the vital organs such as the fish gills. ठीक है ना. उसके बाद में उनकी स्किन होती है. ठीक है ना. फिर लीवर एंड डाइजेस्टिव organs. I hope this is clear to you. And furthermore, they cause the alteration in the reproductive organs of the aquatic animals. Okay, fish pesticides also show a depression in the oxygen consumption in the fish and the prawns. Okay, pesticides are also found to be teratogenic in the embryos of the fish and the frog. I hope this is clear to you. Yes, is it okay with all of you? Okay, now furthermore, now hazards effects हो गए. अब hazards देखेंगे pesticides के. First hazard is the toxicity. Toxicity में क्या होगा, basically the pesticides are highly toxic in nature, we know, and what they do, they highly affect the flora and fauna in the environment. Okay, and how they do, they are toxic to the fish. Okay, example क्या है, DDT है, एल्ड्रीन है, LC50 नाम की एक होती है. ठीक है ना, पेस्टिसाइड्स. ओके, सो दे आर वेरी लो टू फिशेस लाइक द ब्लू गिल्स एंड द रेनबो ट्राउट. ठीक है ना, ये जो टाइप की फिशेस होती है, कौन सी, ब्लू गिल्स और रेनबो ट्राउट, इनके इसमें ये लोग डायरेक्टली चेंजेस लाते हैं. कौन से चेंजेस, बिहेवियरल चेंजेस, हिस्टोपैथोलॉजिकल चेंजेस, ऑल दिस थिंग्स आर देयर. Furthermore, bioaccumulation. Bioaccumulation में क्या होगा, pesticides are present in the water, and furthermore what happens, once they are present in the water, they get concentrated in the tissues of the plants and the animals, and the chlorinated organic pesticides like the DDT, dieldrine and the eldrine are hazardous mainly due to their concentration in the food chain. Once they enter into the food chain, they are highly hazardous. What are the example of the pesticide? DDT, dieldrine and eldrine. Okay, once they are going to be hazardous because they are going to be added into the concentration in the food chain. Okay, and once they enter into the food chain, they have a very higher stability. Furthermore, their vapor pressure is also low and they have a very low solubility in water but are soluble in oil and fats. Okay, example क्या है, concentration of the DDT in fresh water is about how much, 0.00001 ppm. ठीक है ना. So it needs to be become more concentrated from one tropic level to another tropic level. Okay, due to progress of the biomagnification. So it needs to be highly bioaccumulated. It needs to be highly bioaccumulated. Once more thing. So pesticides present in the water are getting concentrated in the tissues of the plants and animal. Chlorinated Organic pesticides like what happened, the DDT, dieldrin and the eldrins are hazardous mainly due to concentration in the food chain. Furthermore, what is the stability of the pesticide? They are highly stable, having low vapor pressure and low solubility in water, but they are soluble in oil and fats. Okay, तो इनकी solubility बहुत अच्छी होती है oil और fats में. For example, concentration example किसका है? DDT का है. So DDT in fresh water is around 0.00001 ppm, and it tends to become more concentrated from one tropic level to another due to process of biological magnification. Okay, so all these things are there. Okay, so now fresh water उसमें कितना होता है उसका concentration DDT का 0.00001 ppm. Thereafter in plankton it's around 0.05 ppm. Thereafter in fresh water fish, ध्यान देना फ्रेश वाटर की फिश में कितना होता है 2 ppm का होता है वो क्या है उसका कॉन्सेंट्रेशन. और फिर प्रेडेटरी जो बर्ड्स होती है उसमें उससे भी डबल होता है 5 times फोल्ड में, इट्स अराउंड 10 ppm. इट्स अराउंड 10 ppm. So all these things are there. So this is the typical food chain concentration of the DDT. I repeat the thing, fresh water में DDT का concentration कितना होता है 0.00001 ppm. Thereafter once they enter into the planktons they become 0.05 ppm, and once they enter into the fresh water fish it becomes 2 ppm. Once they enter into the predatory bird it's around 10 ppm. Okay, I hope this is clear to all of you. Is it okay with all of you? Yes, if it is okay then we can move forward. Yes, then we will see the effect of biomagnification. Okay, so now bioaccumulation, biomagnification का effect क्या होता है? So basically the fish and the predatory birds are highly susceptible to chlorinated hydrocarbons like the DDT, endrine and dieldrine. So this is the effect of biomagnification, bioaccumulation in the fish. So what happens? What is the effect of the biomagnification and the bioaccumulation? The fish and the predatory birds are highly susceptible to the chlorinated hydrocarbons like DDT, eldrine and dieldrine. Okay, all these things, these are the effects. Okay, so now we will be moving toward the artificial fertilizers. Okay, again one more thing is there, artificial fertilizers are also known as the plant nutrients. Okay, and these plant nutrients are playing a vital role as a water pollutant. Example of these plant nutrients are the plant nutrient or the artificial fertilizer is the nitrogen, phosphorus and the potassium. These are the essential elements which are required by the plants and animal for maintaining their growth and metabolism. Now furthermore what happens, a small portion of these nutrients are sufficient to maintain a balanced biological growth. So small amount is required for maintaining the biological growth. Now modern agriculture, what happens, it relies completely on the artificial or the chemical fertilizers, and availability and the low price has attracted the farmers toward this. Okay, and the rapid utilization is going to happen, and this is happening from 1945. That means after the World War. Okay, since World War II. Okay, and problem can arise from the use of these fertilizers. Definitely अगर artificial है तो definitely, because they can be transported into the groundwater, ठीक है ना, thereby leaching into the waterways by natural drainage and storm offs. Nitrates are of special concern. Okay, what happens, they enter into your wells. What do nitrates do? They enter into your wells and ponds, making the water unfit for drinking. अनफिट बना देते हैं ड्रिंकिंग के लिए. एंड फर्दर मोर, अगर कोई पर्सन, वंस द पर्सन कंज्यूम्स दैट वाटर, द नाइट्रेट्स आर कन्वर्टेड इनटू नाइट्राइट्स बाय द माइक्रोफ्लोरा ऑफ द इंटेस्टाइन. माइक्रोफ्लोरा ऑफ इंटेस्टाइन कन्वर्ट्स दैट नाइट्रेट्स फिल वाटर वंस इट इज कंज्यूम्ड इनटू नाइट्राइट्स. ओके, so by the microflora of the intestine. So now these nitrites then combine with the hemoglobin of the blood, and what they form the methemoglobin. These nitrites will combine with the hemoglobin of the blood, and what they will form the methemoglobin. And what happens, these methemoglobin are responsible for the oxygen carrying capacity, because they interfere with the oxygen carrying capacity. Okay, and this thing happens, and one disease happens with the babies. Okay, that is called as the blue baby disease. And what is the other name of this blue baby disease? That is called as a methemoglobinemia. Methemo, Methemoglobinemia, methemoglobinemia, that happens in the infants. And that is, what is the other name for this methemoglobinemia? That is called as the blue baby disease. In this, the oxygen carrying capacity is almost declined in the infant, and these leads to various ailments, and that includes the respiratory damage and the vascular damage. Thereafter, the blue coloration of the skin, and furthermore the cancer. ध्यान दीजिएगा, ये बहुत खतरनाक सिचुएशन है. एंड द सेम प्रोसेस ऑकर्स इन द स्टमक ऑफ द ruminants. So the livestock, whatever the livestock are there, they are affected by the nitrate poisoning. Generally, a healthy person case में contains how much of the methemoglobin? They contains around 0.8% of the methemoglobins. Okay, whereas methemoglobinemia, that is the blue baby disease में basically what happens? Its concentration जो 0.8% रहता है normal person में, it happens to be around 10%. Okay, in the blood, and this level reaches up to 20% that occurs. And what is the side effect of this methemoglobinemia? Headache होगा, ठीक है ना, फिर उसके बाद में गिडीनेस होगी, एंड अबाउट 60% ऑफ द पेशेंट्स एक्सपीरियंस लॉस ऑफ कॉन्शियसनेस. Okay, are you getting what I am saying? Stiffness, and thereafter ocular problems, and around 80% of the death occurs due to nitrate poisonings. Okay, example है राजस्थान में, राजस्थान becomes hard and saline water होने की वजह से यहाँ पे क्या हुआ? Several children have died due to nitrate poisoning. ये नाइट्रेट पॉइजनिंग उसका रिस्पॉन्सिबल था. So in Rajasthan, the nitrite level in the water was around 300 mg per liter, whereas the WHO का परमिसेबल लिमिट कितना था? 45 mg per liter का था. यानी आप ऑलमोस्ट समझ लीजिए कि 4 प्लेट से बढ़ गया ये. The nitrates can be further converted into amines and nitrosamines in the body, and leading to possible gastric cancers. सो नाइट्रेट्स अगर फर्दर मोर अगर रह ही गए बॉडी में, तो दे आर कन्वर्टेड इनटू अमाइंस एंड नाइट्रोसो अमाइंस इन द ह्यूमन बॉडी, एंड व्हाट दे कॉज? दे बेसिकली कॉज द gastric cancers. Okay, so all these things are there. Furthermore, the plant nutrients are responsible for eutrophication. So furthermore, if you add a lot of phosphates and the nitrates, okay, into the water, that leads to oxygen level depletion and due to excessive of the algal growth. हमने देखा है यूट्रोफिफिकेशन में algal growth होता है. ओके, अगर ये बढ़ गया है तो addition of the phosphate and the nitrates would lead to depletion of the oxygen due to excessive algal growth. And furthermore, what happens? It leads to death of the fish and aquatic organism. Furthermore, in addition to the above mentioned pollutants, some of the miscellaneous agricultural products which pollute water, there includes the animal disease agents, okay, which are transmitted by air, water and soil. Dead animals, their disposal is another problem. Sometimes dead animals are disposed in old wells. Old well पुराने इसमें डाल देते हैं उनको, thereby leading to ground water pollution. तो ये सब चीजों से बचना चाहिए, ठीक है ना. उसके बाद में जो रूरल डोमेस्टिक वेस्ट वाटर रहता है, इट शुड बी डिस्पोज्ड ऑफ इनटू द ग्राउंड थ्रू द यूज ऑफ पिट का यूज करो और उनको डिस्पोज करो ग्राउंड में, बट नॉट एनीवेयर. प्रीवरीज को यूज करो, सेसपूल्स को यूज करो, सेप्टिक टैंक्स को यूटिलाइज करो, ये बेटर वे. सो दीज थिंग्स कैन प्रिवेंट द पॉल्यूशन टू अ हाई लेवल ऑन द ग्राउंड वाटर लेवल. ओके, एंड द एग्रीकल्चरल इंडस्ट्रीज सच एज द शुगर इंडस्ट्रीज, फूड प्रोसेसिंग इंडस्ट्रीज, both these causes air and water pollution. We know that thing. Furthermore, irrigation can percolate down the groundwater and furthermore make them increasingly salty. So salinity in water is a major concern and has been a problem for millennium of the years. यानी 100 साल 200 साल से salinity एक बहुत बड़ा इशू चलते रहा है. I hope this is clear to all of you. देखो मैं फिर से बताता हूँ आपको अपन ने क्या क्या पढ़े हैं. Now in the artificial fertilizers, okay, they are basically the plant nutrients which are important for the water, which are used as a water pollutants. Nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium are the essential nutrients. Okay, what they do, they enter into the water streams, and they lead to the rapid increase, and their uses have been increased after the World War II. The problem has arisen over the excessive use of these fertilizers. Okay, what they do, they enter into the well and the ponds, making the water unfit for drinking, but also causes diseases. Okay, and when a person consumes such a water, the nitrates are converted into nitrites, and by the microflora of the intestine, and these nitrites thereafter they combine into the hemoglobin to form the methemoglobins. Okay, and these methemoglobin thereafter interfere with the oxygen carrying capacity, and they cause a disease in the infants, as well as some effects are there observed in the elderly people also. So the name of the disease is the blue baby syndrome, and that is called as the methemoglobinemia. Okay, and this leads to various ailments such as the damage to the respiratory and the vascular system, blue coloration of the skin, and furthermore cancer. And the same process happens in the adults, which occurs in the stomachs of the ruminants. So the livestock can also lead to nitrate poisoning. A healthy person में कितना मेथामोग्लोबिन होता है? It's around 0.8%. But in Rajasthan, once a methemoglobin patient is there, so in that, how much percent of the methanoglobinemia will be present? It's around 10%. Okay. Example क्या है इसका? Basically in Rajasthan, most of the infant deaths were observed because in Rajasthan at around 60% because of the highly saline water. Okay, and salty saline water and very hard water, so it had lead to methemoglobinemia. Okay, and what are the symptoms of this methemoglobinemia? It is nothing but the consciousness, loss of the consciousness, stiffness, furthermore ocular problems. Around 80% of the death are occurred due to nitrate poisoning, that is common in Rajasthan because of the hard and saline water, and most of the children have died due to nitrate poisonings. Furthermore, in Rajasthan, the nitrate level in the water was high as around 300 mg per ml, and the WHO recommendation for this was around 45 mg, also around 4 plates. Thereafter, the nitrates can be further converted into amines and nitrosoamines, and once they are converted into amines and the nitrosoamines in the human body, they may lead to possible cause of the gastric cancer. Okay, so plant nutrients can also lead to eutrophication. Addition of the phosphate and the nitrates leads to depletion of the oxygen, and due to the excessive uh, algal growth, and that leads to the death of the fish and aquatic organisms. In addition to the above mentioned pollutants, some miscellaneous agricultural pollutants are also there which pollute the water. They include the animal diseasing agents that are transmitted by air, water, and soil. Second thing, the dead animals when they are disposed of into the wells, they may cause to the groundwater pollution. Furthermore, if the rural domestic waters are disposed of into the ground through the use of pit breweries, cesspools, and septic tanks, that may lead to less groundwater pollution. Agro industries such as the sugar factories and food processing industries are responsible for increasing the pollution. Irrigation water can percolate to the groundwater supplies and make them increasingly salty. Salinity is the worldwide problem for million of years. I hope this is clear to all of you. Agree? Understood? If it is okay, then please write why. Yes. Okay. So for today, it's enough. Just wait. I'll take your attendance. Uh, then you can leave. Huh? Wait a minute. Wait a minute.